And I want to talk a bit about what I see, what has a lot of potential and is working well, but also a few things maybe that sound really good. But then when you scratch the surface, there's like lots of caveats, and maybe that's not going to have that much potential. So I think it's still very early days, and everybody's also still quite careful, like to start using these things. So I want to do a bit of that reality check.
Birgitta, thank you so much for joining us today. Before we get started here, could you just tell us who you are and who you work for, please?
Yeah, hi, my name is Birgitta Boeckeler. I'm a technical principal with Thoughtworks. Thoughtworks is a global software consultancy, and I'm based in the Thoughtworks Berlin office. And my role at Thoughtworks right now is a global role where I'm looking into all of the ways in which generative AI can help us in software delivery.
It's a great topic. I'm really excited for this talk. Before we get into it, could you just tell us a little bit about what you're going to be talking about in Berlin at Lead Dev later on this year?
So the title of my talk is AI for Software Development, a Reality Check. So, and by AI, of course, in the current point in time, I will mostly be focusing on generative AI and even more specifically on large language models, actually. And so it's called a reality check because I want to talk about what I'm currently seeing in my role and talking to my colleagues in Thoughtworks across the globe who are talking to our clients and who are trying things, who have been using tools like Copilot for months now. And I want to talk a bit about what I see, what has a lot of potential and is working well, but also a few things maybe that sound really good. But then when you scratch the surface, there's like lots of caveats, and maybe that's not going to have that much potential. So I think it's still very early days, and everybody's also still quite careful, like to start using these things. So I want to do a bit of that reality check.
Yeah, and obviously in your position at Thoughtworks, you have a lot of people coming to you, asking you questions about new technologies, in this case, generative AI. What are some of the things that they typically ask you? What are they concerned about? What are they excited by?
Yeah, in the area of software delivery, it's quite interesting because this technology and this hype and this trend is really putting a spotlight on a lot of kind of age-old questions around software delivery. The first one is that almost all of our clients ask us, okay, if we're introducing a coding assistance tool like GitHub Copilot, or if we're starting to experiment with generative AI in other parts of the software delivery process, how will we know that it's working? How will we measure it's working? And this is really the most frequently asked question, but it's not a question that is specific to AI or introducing an AI tool, right? It's like a perennial question in software delivery. How do we measure if we're effective? And there's actually been lots of discussions as well in the public discourse quite recently, like quite contentious discussions about what is the right way to measure things, right? So this is the first thing that's kind of putting a spotlight on. And then another thing is that if you think about, okay, where do I want to use ChatGPT or large language model in some other way to make our software delivery more effective? If you want to decide that, you have to understand how it works and where the kind of leverage points are, right? And like how a highly effective team actually works, right? Like thinking about waste, where are sources of waste, and for which of those can large language models actually help us? So that's something that people don't ask about as much, but that I think people should be asking about more. And also in general, it's putting a spotlight on, again, on this conversation that creating software is not like a factory process. It's not like manufacturing, right? So, and a lot of people right now are focusing on the coding assistants and have hopes about making coding and creating code 50% faster, and then it's going to solve all our problems. But it's just like less than 30% of what a team is actually doing is writing code, right?
Yeah, for sure. And I think that that's getting to the heart of what's interesting here, is that we can debate how far generative AI is a leap forward, but really we've seen so many iterations in the past of new technologies that have changed the job of software development, going right back from, you know, the moving on from the punch card to cloud, IDEs, like all of these things, CI/CD, they've all promised a new way of doing software development faster, better, more efficiently. But we've never seen the work go away. We've never seen the work reduce. We still aren't doing the 4-day working week. Is generative AI going to make it easier to be a software engineer and a software engineering manager? Or do you think this is just going to kind of keep that velocity moving forward, where there's just always going to be that demand for more code, more software all the time?
I mean, we never seem to be running out of work, right? Even in the past, as we've improved our levels of automation and all of those like amazing things. If you compare how we build software today and deliver it versus how we did it 20 years ago, it's like a huge boost, right? But we never run out of work because also software is being used for so many things now, right? So there's always more things to build, and there's always more things to secure, and there's always more things to make more reliable and repeatable, right? But I do think that this is a new category of tools to help us with this, right? So a lot of the things in the past where we've tried to make ourselves more effective were about raising the abstraction level. So even like creating code generators, creating frameworks, low code, no code has been a big topic of conversation in the past few years, right? It's all about raising the abstraction level and reducing the level of technical details we have to deal with. But then we always kind of hit a ceiling because we need more control again if we want more customization, which then we need to deal with details again. So, and to me, generative AI is not trying to like raise that abstraction level again, but it kind of goes laterally to the side where it can assist all of us on all of those abstraction levels. It can assist us in writing Java code. It can assist us in creating low-code applications. It can assist us in creating models, you know. So it's like a new category of tools that is that can potentially make us more effective. So that's what's interesting about it, I think.
Yeah, and you kind of talked about being more effective. You talked about things that you need to secure, knowing where the value is. Like all of these things sound like kind of core engineering leadership skills to me. Are we really saying that no matter what technology comes along, the skills of being an effective engineering leader kind of stay the same?
I guess, yeah, there's like certain values and principles that will probably stay the same, right? Or I guess as long as we will need to collaborate to create software, it will stay quite similar, right? Like as long as it's not possible to just have one person sit there with an AI and build and deliver the whole software, right? Which yeah, as we all know, as people who visit the LeadDev conference or the LeadDev website, it will always be multiple people and stakeholders who deliver this, right? And as long as we need to collaborate as humans, that's the actual thing that's creating the complexities, right?
Yeah, it's always going to be a team sport. We just don't know how many AIs.
Exactly, it's a team sport, yeah. And that's also one of the frequently asked questions from our clients is also, you know, does this replace pair programming? Because at Thoughtworks, we're big proponents of pair programming. But pair programming is actually a practice to make the team better as a whole and not just an individual coder. So while AI-based coding assistants can definitely, you know, take some of the things that that pair programming is supposed to help with. In the end, it's all about the collaboration, the collective code ownership, flow of the team. So it's not the same. It's a team sport. Yeah.
Birgitta, let's fast forward here. You're coming down off the stage. What do you hope people take away from your talk?
So yeah, my goal is to give a bit of a reality check. And I've also seen this at the moment, because it's such a big hype, there's kind of almost two extremes of people, how you react to this, and then people in between on a scale. So one is to be very skeptical about this and say, oh, this is not actually helping me at all. And I would hope to open up those people a bit more to the potential. And then on the other end of the spectrum, I'd say there's people who are very excited about this and, you know, think this can now be applied to everything, and we can, you know, we can make teams 50% faster just by using generative AI. And I would maybe like to bring those people down a little bit to earth, you know, and talk a bit about, you know, scratch the surface a bit of what works and what doesn't.